Okay, guys. Today I'm here with the CEO and founder of Chata.ai, Kelly Churnchan. And welcome, Kelly.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Awesome. So let's start off with the easy question. Tell us what Chata.ai is and what you guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what we're doing is we're humanizing how people interact with data. So, data is stored in databases, of course, but one of the challenging pieces is getting access to that data. So what we do is we allow people to ask for things they want using their own words and natural language, and then our AI interprets that, understands it, and then figures out how to dynamically go and grab that information from the database and do any calculations that are required.
Interesting. So in layman's terms, then I can basically ask it a question in my own plain language and it'll spit me back out an answer.
You betcha, absolutely. So it really helps, especially when there's so many software applications now. Because we had what happened was the what we call the big bang of cloud software, where now you have a whole bunch of different kind of best of breed applications, and that's caused a big decentralization of reporting. So now people either have to use BI tools, the business intelligence tools, or they have to download or sorry, not download, they have to figure out what type of data they want to connect together, everything else. It's not something that's designed for your average person. So we just allow the person to ask for what they want. And then the system just worries about where that's located in the database, so that the human user doesn't have to worry about or care about what the underlying data structure actually is.
Nice. And I understand now that Chata.ai, yes, you guys integrate with QuickBooks and Zero, but it sounds like there's somebody new in the mix now too.
Yeah, absolutely. So we integrated with a pretty popular payment system called Stripe. So that is anywhere from companies doing e-commerce all the way to more software as a service based companies. We actually are a Stripe user ourselves. So it was great because we can use our own systems other than just with our accounting software. We can use Chata.ai for the Stripe data as well, which of course makes my life and anyone else looking at the data a lot easier, and we could do things a lot quicker. And then we'll be releasing Square right away, which will be is a pretty popular point of sale system, although they're getting into the e-commerce space as well. And then we've done a CRM integration that we're going to be using internally before we launch it as well.
Exciting times. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing I've been wondering about is when it comes to the difference between machine learning and artificial intelligence, what's your standpoint on that? Because it's kind of big words and lots of people go, well, I think I know what that is, but you're in the industry, so I'd love your angle on that.
Yeah, absolutely. People use them interchangeably, which is unfortunate. Artificial intelligence is defined a lot of different ways by actually a lot of leading experts out there. The way we look at it is artificial intelligence is a system that's been trained, or people in the biz call it a model. And then what that does is that takes some type of input and it produces some type of result. But the key differentiating factor with AI is that the system can take an input that it's never seen before or never been trained before and actually be able to infer correctly what the output should be for that. So an example would be if you're teaching children shapes and colors, you can show them squares, triangles, and circles. Let's say blue and green is an example. And then you have some other type of shape, but not of triangles. So what the inference would be is that when you show that child a purple triangle, they've never seen that before, they've never been trained on it before, but they have the ability to infer that that is a purple triangle. Okay, so how we define it is really about inference, where machine learning is just that process I talked about, which was getting data and actually training something. So machine learning is more the tools and the systems you use in order to train an artificial intelligence. A lot of people say it's a subset within artificial intelligence, which is true to a point, but it's more about actually training the system to do what it needs to do, which is of course infer and provide some results.
Okay, I like that analogy, and that's a little easier for me to understand because I'm one of those people that have been using them kind of interchangeably, and that's not the right way to do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, machine learning is essentially just tool sets. It's tool sets to do what you need to do, but at the same time, you can use machine learning to build a model that's really not AI, and that's actually what you see in the majority of cases out there now. People have used machine learning to do something, but they call it AI, which really isn't quite the truth.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. How about how AI and machine learning is impacting your team and kind of your business in general?
Our team is mainly engineering at the moment right now. So we have, everything from PhDs, data scientists, you name it. So really AI and machine learning is at the core of what we do. It's our heartbeat. It's, what a lot of the people in the company actually do in their free time as a hobby as well. So it's truly ingrained in kind of our day-to-day thinking and our day-to-day processes. As I mentioned, we use our system internally. And so it clearly affects us because it makes us more efficient internally as well. And other than that, I mean, I think we're looking at adopting other systems that aren't ours, which maybe are involving some machine intelligence types of functionalities. But again, we kind of run into that. Is it? It sounds fancy, but is it really achieving the end objective? And I think that's something that is a challenge out there in the space. Is people always market, and we made the mistake of this early on too, is just trying to blast out the cool buzzwords and everything else, where at the end of the day it's got to be how is that useful to people and how does it make their life better, because that's the ultimate goal of it, right?
Right. No, that makes total sense. And when you talk about that, and we're looking at kind of trends that are coming down the pipeline with AI and machine learning, what would you say is like the biggest trend that's fueling change right now?
Oh, that's a good one. There are tons. So the AI space is so gigantic. You have big buckets, of course, which is near and dear to our heart, is natural language processing, which again people often incorrectly relate that to conversational AI. Conversational AI and natural language processing are two pretty different things. But you have the natural language processing space, you have the computer vision space as well. So on the computer vision side of things, the big trends are the ability to generate images, essentially. Generate false images is a huge trend right now. So not only identifying things like faces or some of the biometrics technology, but there's this trend where you can use these things called generative adversarial networks, and you can actually build fake images. So if you ever see in the media about fake images or fake videos, like there's one of Barack Obama talking, but it's not really him talking. That's what these systems are. So it's a big trend now because the research is going very fast, but then there's a lot of these ethical considerations to think about as well. On the natural language processing side, there's tons of research around 80% of all data out there is unstructured data and tons of text. So emails, just text messages back and forth, everything else. So a big trend is processing that and making some sense of that. So one of the things we'll be releasing very soon here is the ability to automatically process hotel and restaurant reviews as well, because, the business owners don't necessarily have the time to read through those, nor do GMs. So the ability to take all that unstructured data, quickly go through it, and provide some type of analysis to the end user as well. But the biggest trend we're seeing, and of course everybody sees, is this whole big data space. So the amount of data is growing astronomically. And what that does is that causes a huge problem for software developers, right? So people developing, doesn't matter if it's oil and gas software, real estate software, or accounting software. The amount of data they're storing grows and grows and grows. So again, the customer's expectation is that the reporting and analytics capability on that data is there. And so that's a major challenge that we're seeing out there in talking to some of the other software vendors, which is why we've creating a new basically service line where we can integrate our service, our natural language understanding and data query service into other people's software. So we've saw this trend, and we see it continue to become bigger and grow. And so that's part of the reason where we decided to say, hey, yes, we can keep everything in a product, but why not make this service available? Because we can do a better job of helping, human beings around the world if we make that capability openly available to people to people using, the hundreds of thousands of different software applications out there.
Right. Interesting. Very interesting. And so will that be a product or a subset of Chata.ai, or do you have a plan for a new brand for that?
No, it'll be the same. We're be calling it Chat as a Service, but it's still like the core, the guts of the system is still the same. We've just developed new technology where we can connect into another database and then be able to rapidly build a high fidelity language model for that database. So that was what technology that we built, which was more designed to more rapidly integrate these public APIs, which we've been doing now. But in talking to a lot of the software vendors out there and listening to their pain points, it was something that we definitely thought was worth doing. And again, the core of the technology is the same, so why not make it more available, across the world?
Nice. Well, and you've partially answered my next question already, which was really what's the next step for your company or your industry at large. And you've touched a lot on that, but I'd love to just hear, where's Chata.ai going? You have shared a lot about the different payment processors that you guys are planning to integrate with here in the future, but what else is coming up for you guys?
Yeah, so, something that's maybe not as exciting, but I guess more practical, is the just handling CSV files as an example. So that's the common export from a database system. So we're coming across, especially in this cloud accounting ecosystem, there's literally thousands of different software applications people use in and out of the ecosystem, and they want the ability to get out of the spreadsheet world and be able to analyze all that data together. So one really important thing that we're doing is going to be launching the ability to upload a CSV, and then a language model gets automatically trained. So you upload the CSV and then you start asking questions, right? That's as simple as that. You can save that, everything else. So that one's not as exciting, but definitely hugely practical, because it works anywhere from the small business all the way up to the large enterprises. Because if you talk to the large enterprises, even the ones with giant ERP system implementations, there's still tons of export of data into spreadsheets. And, for a lot of people, that's, they're not wizards in the spreadsheet space. And then, of course, the other one is the Chat as a Service piece, which is going to be where we're pushing very hard on that. We continue to kind of push the envelope of our technology development. And that's something that we're going to be pushing very hard on in 2019. So to your point earlier, you'll have Chata.ai, which is the product. You can integrate things into everything else. And then you'll be seeing more powered by Chata pop up in other people's applications where we can just integrate directly in there. So really trying to, like I mentioned, leverage the technology that we've built here and allow it or make it available for everybody else.
Fantastic. Oh, it's exciting times over there by this.
Absolutely, yeah.
So if people wanted to learn a little bit more, how could they find out more about you, Kelly, and the company?
Yeah, I mean, our website, Chata.ai, as well as Twitter. Twitter's another really good one. The handle is at the Chata HQ. And so there's usually a lot of stuff on there. I usually interact quite a bit, with our main Chata group as well. I'm on LinkedIn if anybody wants to connect as well. Always happy to have discussions about things, or if people have questions or even some concerns about just them implementing AI within their day-to-day. I'm more than happy to help out.
Super wonderful. Well, thank you for taking the time to chat with me today.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.